Again, just after watching film, again, it was a hard fought game. Like I said in the dressing room to the kids, I was proud of the fight. I thought, you know, early in the first quarter, you know, when you look at, I thought the offenses on both sides kind of controlled the tempo. Like I said, give Mississippi State credit. They went down and scored twice. Offensively, we drove the ball, I think, twice in the first quarter inside the 20 or 25-yard line. We came up with nothing. You know, when you look at the tail of the tape of the game, you know, going in, even if we had gotten maybe 10 points out of those two drives, you know, we could have possibly got into a game where late in the game we had a chance, you know, because it was 28-7. I think it could have been 28-17 and then 31-17. We get the 2-point conversion. It could have been 31-26, coulda, woulda, shoulda, and we get the ball. But the reality is we didn't. I didn't think we tackled well at times. You know, it's a critical third down that they converted where we certainly had our opportunity to get them down, but I did like our fight. I did think our guys, and we came back when it got to be 31-15 and we had the ball. I was hoping we might make it interesting, but again, it just wasn't our day. And give Mississippi State all the credit. I thought their running back ran the ball tremendously hard and well. The Calvin Hill kid, he was outstanding on Saturday, and certainly they deserve to win.
Coach, what do you think whenever you look back at the offensive line?
I thought they played well. I really did. I think we're getting better and better, and I was pleased with their. Again, I thought we ran the ball. When we ran it. I thought we ran it effectively, and so we ran the ball well, and I felt like they passed blocked well. Again, if you looked at it statistically, Patrick, what was it, 380 to 350 or 344 to 380? I mean, the game, and I really go back and look at that first quarter. I felt like the offenses came out hot on both sides. They really did. We were driving the ball, they were driving the ball, but they got 14 points. And guess what? Football is about scoring points. We got 0 and they got 14. But if you looked at the drives and you looked at the, you know, again, statistically and how we moved the football was pretty well. We just didn't convert early, and then we got ourselves in a hole. But we fought back out in the third and early fourth quarter, and you know, kind of gave it. We turned the ball over a few too many times late right there, which wasn't good. But again, I thought they played pretty well. I mean, again, it wasn't a bad day offensively. I didn't think we just didn't do as well in the red zone as we'd like.
Speaking of the running game, do you feel like with the Michael in the backfield that you're kind of getting a rotation back there, especially the way Perkins ran the ball in the game?
Right now, Perks are at running back right now. Michael's he got a few carries and did a good job, but again, I think we're growing and we're running the ball well. We really are. I mean, when we ran it, I thought we ran it effectively. So again, I thought we threw the ball effectively. We missed a few shots, but again, you know, I knew it would be a tough game. I mean, you're not playing I said this earlier. I mean, Mississippi State was Outback Bowl last year. They're a good football team, and we knew they were a good football team. You know, I really felt like had we been able to get a little something going early, we could have made it a very interesting game in the fourth quarter because it was going, you know, again, I thought that's kind of, we got behind a little bit early right there, and that kind of snowballed on us.
Just make sure I understood. You said Perkins would you say he's your number one option right now?
Coach, could you speak to, after seeing the film, speak to State's offensive line?
Well, yeah, we got to give State credit on everything. They're big guys. They played well up front. I thought they're and I don't know how the quarterback's doing right now, but I thought he is a really good football player. You know, I mean, he's something else. You know, and we noticed that on film at Lafayette. I mean, hopefully they'll get him back because that was. I mean, he's a key and he's a really good football player. You look at the running back. You know, the Hill kid. Give their offensive line credit too. The Hill kid, man, he ran hard. And he's a guy we recruited hard out of high school, and we lost him in the midnight hour there. Not midnight. He went to Mississippi State, and he's a guy that, again, we knew he was a great high school player at Columbus High. I knew he'd be a good one. So, again, they got good players, and they made plays. And, again, we knew we were playing a good football team. If we just could have kept it early going along. I think that was the tail of the tape, and I thought that in the dressing room at the end of the game, and then I went back and watched the tape. I said, no, because it kind of settled down in the second quarter. In the early, they had a drive in the late second quarter, and then they had another drive somewhere midway through the third quarter, but everything kind of settled down. It's just we didn't take the initial blow. They got up quick, and then we just been able to counter punch early. I felt like we could have pulled this game in the fourth quarter, and it would have been fun to watch.
Do you think DeMichael's a guy that kind of embraces contact?
Yeah, he does. DeMichael, yeah, he's a tough guy. And DeMichael's one of those guys that, again, he's a good football player.
Quez is back.
He's back this week. Yeah, we get Quez back.
Moses is probably out.
I'm not talking injuries, Tim. You know that. So I don't know. I guess one of those deals they kind of told us to mum's the word now. So I got to mum. I know I got to mum the word. It's kind of the federal laws and all that stuff. You know. So I'm just doing what I'm told to do.
But we don't get to quote mum's the word very much, so this will work out fine, Coach.
That's right, mum's the word. That's right. Yeah. So bottom line is that you won't know when they're back or when they're not back, just because they told me, hey, we have to quit talking about that.
Yes.
Troy, I guess they've only played one game so far, right? I mean, what's the?
Yeah, one game they played well. Again, they've got a lion's share of their football team back from last year. So again, and we know we're playing another good football team. I mean, it's going to be the tail of the tape for us every week. But they do a great job, and again, they have talent in all the skill positions, and they're good up front on both sides of the ball. So we know we got a tough opponent.
How do you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr.
There seem to be a lot of connections between Southern Miss and Troy, beginning with Chip. Does that have any effect at all?
You know, I think football and sports are kind of like that, period, in college sports. There's so much interconnection through coaches and athletic administration and everybody else. I think it's just part of the game, I mean, especially when you're in a region like the Southeast region. I mean, you're going to have coaches that have crossed paths at different schools or with other coaches, and I just think there's constantly a constant intertwine right there in the Southeast. So you're always going to, usually when you look on the other sideline, there's usually familiar faces and familiar guys that you work with and all that kind of good stuff. So again, I think that's pretty commonplace out.
With
Did you ever work with Nancy?
No, I didn't work with him, but I've known Chip, and of course there's guys on that staff that we all know, and I'm sure there's guys they know, quite a few of our guys. So coaching's a small fraternity when it gets down to it. Everybody kind of knows everybody.
How do you prepare for a new head coach, like with only one game? You go back and look last year at the game he played against Auburn, or how do you judge? How do you do
always,
that?
I mean, it's always difficult. You have to look at a lot of different things. There's no question about it. There's no one method to it. You have to look at a lot of different scenarios and prepare the best you can. But it's certainly always tough.
You kind of Chip Lindsey style of offense. What's the main challenge just throughout the times
Well,
y'all face them?
I think Chip's an excellent football coach, and he does a great job offensively. So I mean, he's going to keep you balanced, and again, defensively we've got to have a great day, and offensively too. I mean, he's doing a great job there, and they're an outstanding football team, offensively and defensively. So again, we know we got a big challenge, Patrick.
It's one game at a time always, but this one kind of in between the two, the State and the Alabama. Is this like a linchpin game of these first four?
Tim, I always said, you know me, man, we're going to count these poker chips up at the end of the day when Thanksgiving hits. We're not going to, I mean, it's the biggest game because it's the next game.
Gotcha.
And that's, and in football, if you address it any other way, I think you're in serious trouble. So you just you gotta move on to the next game. And again, with our schedule, we know every game's going to be a tough opponent.
Players of the week?
Offensively, we went with Jordan. Jordan's had 2 back-to-back good weeks, and he had a good game Saturday. You hit me quick with that one, Tim. You always do. Defensively, Delmon Landry was our player of the week. Special teams wise, Hayes Maples.
How'd you think Jack did Saturday?
I thought he played well. The last couple drives we had a couple picks, and and again, we got to protect the ball. One time we were down there down in their territory in the early first quarter. That was one of the drives we one we fumbled, I think the other one we had a missed field goal. But, again, we just gotta protect the ball. But but at the end, I don't really count the last, the last pick. We just gotta make something happen, we're trying to make something happen quick. But the one before that was, and again, it's not all Jack's fault either. So I thought he played well. I thought he threw the ball well. I thought we did some good things at wide out and running back. So again, we just, again, we want to stick in the end zone. We get down inside the 20, 25.
I know you're probably always trying to read your team after a loss.
Mhm.
Well, what kind of read do you have on your team after this?
These guys will fight. I mean, we're gonna fight. Our guys are always. The bottom line is, I think you leave a game upset because you know when you go through the battle. Again, like I said, you walk out. Yeah, we got beaten. We accept that. Mississippi State deserves it. We always get what we deserve as a football team, but you walk out and there's always the positive lining is you always look and say there's a couple little plays here or there early in the game, you know what I'm saying, next thing you know, you're giving yourself an opportunity to have a chance to win it, so it's but football's football. It's a funny game. The ball certainly didn't bounce our way, and guess what? At times you got to give Mississippi State credit because they ran through, we missed some tackles, they ran through and made things happen, so they deserve the W. It's just, again, there's some positives coming out of the game for sure. I think we played really well on our defensive line. Thought those guys played extremely well. I don't know if we played as well in the back seven as we should have, you know what I'm saying? So, but up front, I felt like we were pretty physical and at times pretty dominant, and it was just our back seven didn't play as well as we should have.
Anything else? All right, thanks, good.